Hi everybody. No sooner had I released that video about channeling, I wanted to remove it. Why? Well, I'm a professional astrologer, serious about my craft. I've been doing it for many years. I've built up a reputation on YouTube, and it felt like a huge risk to be that vulnerable and to share what has been happening with me. But being a Libra, I feel now that we need some balance, some integration of what happened, because I want to share with you that I was uncomfortable about sharing that, about doing it. I was on edge about how it would go down. It was outrageous. It was really out there. But very often, when we go through a very big transition in life, we put ourselves out there and then we go, what did I just do? And that was the kind of reaction I must admit I had. Although I must thank so many of you who've been very receptive and open to it. But nonetheless, it is, shall we say, outside the mainstream. And many of you may have felt you wanted to judge it. And what happens when we judge something is we distance ourselves from something. Yes, it makes you feel safe, but then maybe your world stays small. And it is my feeling that at this time, we need to keep our hearts open and not judge, and to allow everything to be and to come out. We're seeing a huge period of destabilization. What with Britain coming out of Europe, instability there certainly, the US, your elections in the US, I mean, everything has this instability to it. And channeling is certainly something that knocks you off your balance. That's what's happening in our world. I think many people are feeling that in their lives. And it's certainly knocked me off balance to find that there was something so much more than I could have realized, but I had to surrender to it being weird. And yes, it's weird. Of course it's weird when your mouth is being moved, or you can feel your mouth being moved. But I'm not being taken over. I really need to set the record straight. The reason I shared it was because I feel that this is such a powerful and loving energy. Another question: how do you deal with something that is very powerful and new? Do you judge it and say, whoa, that's weird, it's not for me? Or do you make some space for something else to come in? By doing this, I've seen so many benefits. That's my reason for wanting to share it with you so much. And I know many of you are very receptive. And I'm not making any excuses for what I've shared. I'm glad I've shared it, even though, I look at it and go, gosh, yes, that's off the wall. But when Esther Hicks started to channel Abraham, for example, I know she doesn't call it channeling, but okay, she did sound like a Russian cosmonaut. Cryon, whenever Lee Carroll channels, he still prefaces things with, look at the man in the chair channeling. Can you open yourself up to something that is different? I mean, my lot are very funny. And I love that fun that comes through, that blasts through, that brings joy and puts pleasure on people's faces. I've never had connections with children and babies in the way that I do now, by tuning into this channeling. I've had some amazing results with my holistic doctor, who's been asking the channel to help her with her patients. So I knew it was so powerfully positive. And this is the reason I wanted to share it with you. But please don't think that I'm not uncomfortable at times. I'm desperately uncomfortable. And it's as David Bowie says, if you're not feeling uncomfortable, if you're not feeling as though your feet are not quite touching the bottom when you are swimming, then you're not really alive. So I'm hoping that this video now can show you that it's a process for me, that I'm learning all the time. And I wanted to share it with you so that we can learn together, that we can open this up, we can converse, we can really move into this restructuring of our whole societies. That's why I'm doing the video, the seminar about 2020, because these years are so significant in throwing us off what is comfortable and opening us up to something much bigger, much more powerful, and very, very benevolent and kind. So I'm hoping that this video shows you, please, let's not close our hearts at this time. Let's stay open to one another, no matter how weird and wacky and outrageous it may look.